Let's see here. Try and get all this going good here. There we go. That way I can at least see chat when people come on by. That'd be good enough for government work. I'll hang out here. I just want to double check audio and make sure all that's good and happy. Make sure there's no complaints or anything like that, and that it's pretty much all we're looking for. Fingers crossed. So we'll see. Somebody will stop by here in a second. And then I will figure out how I'm going to get going on all this stuff. Because it will officially be my first little Voron build. And yay, good times. I'm telling you, good times. And let's see what happens. Somebody's going to come into the chat here in a second and tell me my audio sucks or is right. Just want to make sure I'm not crazy with all this, as it were. Make sure I'm not nuts. Well, I am nuts, but just make sure I'm on the right path, as it were. Make sure I get everything all set up so that I can kind of do the build and not really think too much about the whole chat thing. Or the whole trying to manage a stream while I'm actually building, as it were. Because that can get annoying pretty darn quick. Darn it, why are you doing that to me? I got my screens organized. Make sure it's right. There we go. Good enough for government work. There's that. Hey, there's none. How's my audio there? Is it okay? Will it function, as I like to say? That's the important part. Will it function? Can people hear me? Is it too crazy? Is it too noisy? This is my basement, so it's all a new setup. Trying to get it all figured out. All right, so that's all good. Cool. There it is. Let me do some wonderful, annoying social media junk for a second here, and then I'll get started, as it were. Because, yeah, it's going to be fun. I got all my parts printed, so I am all set and ready to go. So I don't have to sit around and wait for 5,000 things to happen. I can just go for it. All right, social media push. Which basically just means I'm going to Twitter and saying, hey, come by, stop to say hello. We'll see how that does. That way I have people to hang out with while I'm doing all this stuff. You know, because I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just, you know, that guy. You know, and I just realized, oh, that's going to be fun. Oh, well, I just realized that 3D Nero is also streaming. That should be fun. I wonder who's going to have more people. Oh, yeah, it would be him. He's the actual YouTuber that actually does stuff on a consistent basis. You know, me, I got the whole other thing I have to do all day long. You know, that annoying job thing. Let's see here. How's it looking? Is everything good? Everybody happy? Yeah, I think I can have some fun here. All right. Well, I'll get started and I can chit chat with myself, as it were, and see how things go. But first, I'm going to have a little soda, not beer, just some soda. I promise. But I have a cute little setup here. I got all the cute little camera angles. Well, that's my cute camera angle. I even have a screen share, so hey, I'm good to go. And I figured I would do that. But I'll have some fun there. Oh, look at all these people coming by to say hi. Oh, Miro, you know you're going to have 500 people doing in your stream. And he's throwing a 50. Everyone say hi, David. But yeah. But yeah, this is my cute little basement. So my house is finally getting close to being set up for everything. And I have all the 3D printed parts ready to go. And I have the whole kit here. All the tools and all the other good stuff. So it should be fun. I even got the fabled 32 STH20 1004 AHG motor for the stealth burn build. We're out of stock on those. But yes, I have all of the 3D printed parts. I kind of went overboard because I didn't want to sit there and micromanage myself. On all of this and not have the one part that I needed to print, and I didn't want to sit down and read everything way in advance. So a lot of it is going to be me sitting there going, oh, that's what they meant. Oh, that's what they meant. But I got everything. I got all the good stuff. Let's see, what is it? Look at that. That's like I call the Nero cam. Thanks for all the good luck. This is my first time with the 2.4. So far I have done the 0.1. I got half of a trident before I had to move and all that stuff. And then I have a switch wire. So, and this will also be my very first Revo install. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, give me 1 second, because that's going to be annoying to stream. Get that. There we go. Now the focus won't bounce around. Oh, yeah, ask how many Amigas on the wall. Well, on the wall exclusively, I got a lot. I got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got like 5 Amigas, 4 Commodores, a couple Texas Instruments, and then on the shelf over here, kind of off camera, which is questionable, I probably have another 15 or so Commodores and Amigas, and then another 20 or so Macs. I like my retro. They're fun. But yeah, I got the whole collection. So, all right. Let me get my my fun on here. I even have that. Oh, it flips it. That's not right. I thought I had all this right. Where is that? Figure what's going on here. That would be annoying for people to see it, sit there and see it flipped all the time. You know what? I think that's probably going to be over on YouTube side, aren't you? No? I'm not sure where it's flipping the video on me. Let's see. Bear with me. I want to figure out why it's flipping the video. I didn't think it would, but I'll give you that fun wide view for a second while I figure out what's going on here. Figure out why you are flipping on me. Weird. I don't know why it flips or where it flips. I'm using OBS on this one, and I'm just using a virtual cam straight into it, into YouTube Studio. I gotta figure out where it went wrong on me before I do this. Everything else looked good except for that. All right, let's see. Let's go back over there and see if I can figure out what's going on. That's my studio, and interesting. But I can tell because, see, it's weird because the text is right here. No, it's actually back there. But it's flipped right here. Oh, you know what? Give me 1 second. I think I might be just on the wrong reality. Bear with me 1 second. I think I know what's up. Yeah, I'm a moron. I'm a moron. It's flipped on the wrong screen that I'm looking at. That's why. That's all it was. It's flipped on the wrong screen, and I was blaming you guys, or blaming myself for something else. So that makes things easier. All right, 1 second. Make sure I got the chat here so I can see everyone saying hi and all that stuff. There we go. Okay. I'm not stupid. Well, that's to be seen. All right. Let's get started with all the fun. Blah, blah, blah. Warning, you don't know what you're doing. Warning, warning, warning. Intros. Warning, warning, warning. Yeah, I know. ABS. You guys love it. Yeah, I know. I did all that. Oh, I know all that stuff. All right. And I know all that stuff. Yeah. If you don't know this by now, you're in for some trouble. Oh, look at that. There's the frame. There's the extrusion. Let's go ahead and switch to the overhead here. That wasn't the overhead. That should be the overhead. Correct? Demundo, right? I love it. I love it. Okay. Now we're cooking with Crisco. That's my overhead. I really shouldn't be messing with that yet. I got all the frame pieces. Let's organize. Now, this build, I'm going very traditional. I'm doing red and black. So it will actually look like a Voron. I'm conforming. I'm trying very hard to be, the one of us crowd. One of us, one of us. And see how it goes. Now, my question is, what is Nero up to tonight? Because I was like, I'm gonna do my little work tonight and do my stream and everything. And then I went, oh, darn it, Nero's also streaming. Oh, well, I get like the 5 people that know me to stop by and keep me company while I'm doing this. Now, of course, the next question everyone would ask is, hey, David, are you doing this because of your business? Or are you doing this for what? And the answer is, I started Printed Solid. Well, Matt started Printed Solid. I joined Printed Solid because of my love for 3D printing. The problem with that is that if you love 3D printing, you should never, ever, ever start a business, because you'll spend more time doing everything but. So let that be a warning to you. If you love 3D printing, don't start a business. Because I have the wonderful joy of I have a bunch of employees that I have to pay to do all the stuff that I actually want to do. So, just FYI. Let that be a warning to you all. Because you'll never have time to enjoy yourself. And so I'm taking this Labor Day weekend, which I still have to go in and work on Monday because everyone else gets it off. Oh, look at that. They organize their extrusion slightly different, and I should do the same thing. So that's A. That's B. C, D, E. Okay. Now I have the extrusion as they intended. That's important. That way it makes it easier. Oh, Michael, you have no idea. Paperwork is no fun. Can I tell you that I spend on average about 2 hours a day in QuickBooks just doing that. I spend about 4 hours a week doing state sales taxes. So, yeah. Don't enjoy that. All I wanted to do was have a big warehouse of unlimited 3D printing supplies. That's all. But no, here I am. All right, I'm looking for the M516 buttons. Where are you, M516 button heads? I have to give LDO some credit because the little bags, the way they're labeling them, they're doing a really good job of matching the names to the names inside of the Voron build manuals. So I do have to give them credit for that. Now, if you don't have one of these silicone mats, I recommend them, because you can do that. And now I know. Now I know. And now I have it. And they're good little mats. I love them for that. And they'll just hold everything in place and keep screws from rolling around. Now, next, I'm just going to go ahead and find the right tool.
because I know that they include Allen wrenches and all that junk, but frankly, I'm just not a fan of someone else's Allen wrenches. You know what I mean? I gotta find the right one. Where are you? Gotta find the right tool for the job, as it were. I swore I had it. I swore I had the right one. So I'm gonna find the right tool head, and then I'll be able to start actually putting some stuff together. Where are you? So over here, bear with me as I'm off camera because I'm just kind of sitting over here finding the right bit for what I want to do so that I don't strip it out and I can get a lot of work done. That should work. That should work. There we go. So, yes, we are getting some Trident LDO kits in. And if people are curious why we haven't opened up pre-orders on the other stuff, here's why. Now, don't get me wrong, I love LDO, but their shipping delays on the last several batches really upset a lot of people, and that wasn't right. That sucked. You know, it's kind of outside their control, but it does suck. And it put a lot of people into a bad position and made a lot of people kind of sad and upset and all that stuff. And I get it. I fully get it. You know, I would hate to wait that long too. So I'm turning off pre-orders. And what I'm doing is I'm just ordering a bunch of kits. And then once I have them in the warehouse, you know, inspected, repacked with all of our panel sets and all of our little upgrades that we throw in and everything like that, then I'll put them on for sale. That way they'll ship, you know, same day or next day to everybody, and no one will have that complaint again. I was originally apprehensive about opening up to doing pre-orders, but that seemed to be kind of a little bit of a pressure point for a lot of people. And so I kind of caved in, but I'm going back to my method of I don't sell what I don't have. So yes, we will be getting some in across the board, all the kits. You'll see them, but when we actually put them up for sale, you won't be waiting for them to ship. And we will just continue to put more and more orders in and just get more and more kits in and keep doing the sell that way. That should make a lot more people happy. And I get it. I totally get it. I know it sucks. It totally sucks when it happens. So that's why. I haven't built the product pages yet for the Trident kits. We have the Trident cubes coming. But I haven't built the pages for that yet on our site. But I will probably next week be able to get around to doing that and getting all that up and running and prepared for everybody. And get all that going. And I'll tell you a secret about this kit. I originally wasn't planning on doing this because I know how it is, you know, very popular. All people wanted them. And we had some cancellations on orders because of those excessive wait times. I get it. So I went back into the warehouse and I secretly took one and snuck it out to my car and made the inventory -1. for the extras and then sold the rest. Shh, don't tell anyone. And yes, Ken. So Elixir filament, let me tell you. Here's the problem. Elixir filament. So Polyalchemy, they called me up and they went, hey, David, we want to sell our inventory and company. This was quite literally Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, right before we start our Black Friday. So I made that entire deal happen in about 30 minutes. So from, hey, I want to sell the company to, here's your check. Actually, here's your wire transfer, was about 30 minutes the night before Thanksgiving. So I bought the company without the full recipe and without any of the colorant information and the processes and all that stuff and all their inventory. So sure, done. The problem that came out of all of that was after I said, sure, done, was I then had to figure out how to source everything. Now, sure, done, no problem. Easy, I'll source everything. The problem is Polyalchemy had all the recipes, of course, based on recipes from China, from materials in China. Now, here's the problem with that. China has been having a really, really nasty time. I'm turn my back here so I can try and find a better bit. That bit's not going to work in the long haul for this project. It has a really nasty time keeping up with supply chain issues. Every time we turn around, there's another supply chain problem. You know, what are you going to do? That is just the way the world is right now. It sucks. And so I start trying to get a hold of all the materials necessary to make the elixir filaments. And trying to find suppliers here in the United States that carry the material and try to do all of that and negotiate all of that turmoil. And the problem is that in addition to China being on all those extra lockdowns and all the other problems they faced, is that, of course, the supplies that I wanted were in extremely high demand. So the materials that I use are in extremely high demand. In fact, right now, just about every plastic resin in the world is in very high demand. I mean, really bad. And the way these plastic resin companies work is they actually prioritize you and put you on a list. And then they give you an allocation and they say, hey, buddy, you're allowed to have this much of the material. And I go, great, get me on that list. Let's get going. And they go, oh, the list is full. So you have to wait until another company no longer or has until we have an opening, pretty much. And I go, wow, okay, that's where we're at on all this. So I had to wait for it. And me with my sourcing and all my other business junk that I have to deal with on a daily basis, I said, you know what? I'm going to call around and I'm going to pull some trickery. And that's exactly what I did. I called around and I pulled some trickery. And I got some guys to sit there and go, hey, David, we're already on that list. We'll get you some supplies. We'll let you borrow some of ours because we got a little bit of extra. And I go, great. And we make all that happen. All of that happens. All of that happens. And I get some. So I have enough supplies in my warehouse to only make, a couple hundred spools. This is for me to test and try and get all my testing done. Now, the problem with that is that in order to do all that testing and everything, I have to get spare time on the extrusion line, which means the extrusion line has to be turned off and so forth. So, sure, all right. You know what, David, you're going to sneak in there on some weekends and you're going to figure it all out and make sure you got it all down and the recipe works. And that is what I did. I'd sneak in there on the weekends and at nights and everything else, power up all the machinery and just be running it alone at 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to make sure I got the recipe all just right. And lo and behold, I think I got the recipe right, and I got all the little settings and everything else that I have to worry about all taken care of. You know, I'm just, top of the world. And I'm sitting there going, okay, so I have enough to get a couple spools. And then I go, okay, now I got to find those supplies again and get on those lists because that other supplier's not there. And I couldn't. So I called up my buddy who ran Polyalchemy originally and said, hey, buddy, I'm having a hard time getting that material. And he goes, all right, you know what? I'm secretly on those lists still. I'm going to order you some and send it to you. So I got this, indescript, large pallet shipping of all the materials I needed. And all that material showed up at my door. And it all busted open in shipping on the ships. So I lost about half of it. And then about another third of that was contaminated. This is my life. And I continued to work on it and try my best and get all that stuff figured out. And now I'm like, you know what? I have enough. I can probably make a run of a couple thousand spools just to make people happy. And you know what? I was like, you know what? I'm going to set it up and I will sneak it into one of the subscription box months. Just be like, here, surprise, you get some elixir this month. Well, lo and behold, my main extrusion line operator, she fell down a flight of stairs about 2 weeks ago. She's the one that I kind of give all the exotic assignments to and the craziness, and she's the one that really knows the equipment really well and can do all this stuff when I'm not around. Well, she fell down a flight of stairs, so I have my other guys, which are relatively new guys. And they're smart guys, but they don't have the experience and the knowledge and all that stuff that I've been taught that the one woman for the last couple of years. So now they're back there, and it shortened the hours of the day because of there's conflicts in those schedules. So now I have job openings where I'm trying to get a couple extra extrusion line operators that'll hold off while she's still in recovery. And then once she recovers, then she'll come back. And if the world isn't still on fire, then maybe I'll be able to start doing elixir. So no, that store in Australia is not ripping me off. That store in Australia is still buying surplus stock from Polyalchemy. That is perfectly fine. We've discussed it and we've worked on that. So that store in Australia is in the clearance to still buy it. Polyalchemy is part of the deal, mainly because it's a problem getting, that filament over here to the United States. He wanted to help the Australian guy because I couldn't help the Australian guy. And I said, all right, sure. Yeah, you can have the rights for that. You can go to town over there and help them out because I want to sell to Australia. And not because I don't like Australia, but just because, I do like Australia. It's because the shipping to and from there is horrible. So if I tried to ship, my filament to Australia, that guy in Australia would have to sell it for way too much. China's way closer to Australia than the USA is. And there's more container ships going that way. So that is why you can get it from that Australian place, but not from me. And yeah, you probably bought from them. You probably got hit by that whole. You probably saw those shipping fees and were like, "Wow, that's a lot of money." So, yeah, I get it. I get it. So no, I won't hold it against you that you bought filament from somebody else other than me. That's okay. All is forgiven. But, yep, you see the problem now. So in other words, Elixir is eluding me only because of logistics. It's very frustrating. Manufacturing in the United States is extremely difficult because even though we have one of the best supply chain systems in the world as far as moving materials around the country, it is really hard to get companies to work with each other, fulfilling their supply chain needs. Our interstate system is amazing, but horribly, horribly not filled. And I think it's just literally businesses businesses in America tend to frown upon working with other businesses. Where when you get into other countries, they love working together. Businesses will pull deals with other businesses left and right. And it's really hard. B2B sales has always been an annoyance and a very hard thing. Which is why our Perusa, purchase and deal and all that other fun stuff was done great. Oh, okay. Man, they told me to do that to all of them. Oh, there's a typo. Okay. Or I misread it wrong. So there were two of these A rods that they were like, prepare them all and put the screws in them. And now I got to take them back out. I got to take them back out because I'm supposed to put the brackets on them. Oh, Michael, you have no idea. Currently, I ship with two. So I ship with FedEx, UPS, and the post office. All three companies. And we ship enough that I have to negotiate rates with every single one of them individually. And there are some that, depending on the day of the week, it's way cheaper to send it FedEx to California, for example, from us. And then that same package on the following day would be way cheaper to ship UPS or post office. So all sorts of crazy values on that. So, and then you take on top of it of, I don't know what happened to all of the shipping companies, but since COVID started, every shipping company has gone off the rails. Their quality, their follow-up, their delivery windows, all of them have just gone kaput. You're lucky if you get anything on time and on schedule. You really are. But I'm not bitter. So I have Dustin, who is, my tech support guy. He is also the guy that deals with all the shipping companies. He gets to sit there, and he's the one that calls them up and says, hey, you lost another package. Hey, you lost another package. And that call can sometimes be every day. And he has to work his way through the system and yell at people about it, and then get out more product to all the people and get all that stuff taken care of. So, yay. And in all honesty, his day is almost half tech support, half dealing with shipping companies.
Oh yeah, I can see some of those fun colors of ASA. The only problem with ASA is that people are tending to frown on ASA almost as much as they are frowning on ABS these days. It sucks, but you know, we are in a society where everyone's got to be careful and cautious and all that stuff. So ASA is getting harder and harder to maintain, as I like to say. Even it's almost as bad as ABS as far as reliably being popular. And I will say something very, very, very controversial here. You ready for it? And this is the one that I expect everyone to just like slam their keyboards against the floor and go, "Oh, that David." It is that I think in our industry, 3D printing, that ABS would almost be non-existent if it wasn't for Voron. There, I said it. I said it. Woo! Let the flame wars begin. But yeah, I would say that pretty heavily. I would say that. I'm not going to say it again, but you got me saying it once. I know, crazy, right? ASA still has a place, but not a huge place. It's still there, but I don't think it's going to get bigger. I think we're going to see is some more creative work with nylons, some PETG stuff. But I think anything with S in the name is going to get worse. You know what I mean? It's just going to get worse. And I'm not going to get overtly political, so bear with me when I say this and don't take it as a political statement. There is some legislation passing around about manufacturing and plastics in the United States. It is being considered and worked on and all that other stuff. If that passes, I guarantee you will see a almost immediate, complete obliteration of ABS and ASA and 3D printing. Almost guarantee it. Whether the country needs it or not and all that stuff, I'll leave those opinions to myself because that can just start up a whole thing. But if that legislation gets through, I could see that severely limiting 3D printing's material options here in the United States. So be prepared. Hey, Filament Frenzy, you know these shirts are available at printasolid.com. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, know what I mean? So, which, by the way, if you guys want to hear a humorous joke of government legislation broken, was it Prop 65 in California? Anything that might cause cancer has to have a sticker on it type of thing? Well, if you didn't know, thanks to some other rules, even if you're not in that state and you manufacture something, if it even crosses that line, it has to have that warning.
Okay, fine. But the warning is so specific and so broken, that we all know styrene is what is the cancer-causing agent in ABS. Well, technically, the acetone and the butyl does too, but the styrene is a cancerous material in there. And as you can imagine, the problem you face is that, how should I put this without going crazy? ASA and ABS both have it, but because it has to be listed for California, of course, ABS is on there, but ASA is not. So California's kind of broken in their execution of Prop 65. Well, the reason why I want to limit it is because of all of the plastics in the ocean and all the other environmental problems. And that's a political discussion for other people, but I think 3D printing is perfectly fine the way it is. That's where we are. So, yay! Now, of course, I can't do a, you know what I have a problem with? I don't have a measuring solution that's going to get me that accurate. So I just have a rough tape measure, but they want me to find the middle of the printer. Good enough. And let me turn that around. I might as well do that side as well. Good enough. You're absolutely right. That limitation would definitely kill them. But here's the thing. That's their sole business. Most injection molding companies out there are ABS. That's their sole business. That's like 99.9% of their total income. So they would comply with it, pay all the surplus taxes and everything else they have to do to make it work. Ooh, I'll ask a Voron question of the crowd here. All right. So I'm at this step. Now, I get it that they want to do the offset from the center of the machine for the rails. For these for these big rails here, they want to do the offset for those. And they're doing it off the center line. They even list the centers over here. How cute of them. And here is the problem I have. Between the frame differences, should it still be spaced at 130 no matter what size it is? That's my question. So should the spacing be changed? I'm working on a 350, so I don't see a reference to that number for that spacing difference. I would assume that since it is a bigger frame that we should be doing that. And therein lies my problem. Now, honestly, I don't think that that's a big issue, because I don't know if it's a big issue, because if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure we actually just make the frame and then mount the frame onto it. But therein lies my problem. what should the offset be for a 350 frame? Because I don't see it in the manual. Well, here's my thing. I can check the distance between the mounting points, but isn't the, I'm going to scroll way ahead here. I'm going to go nuts with this. Really? Okay, so they did the same. Okay. Yeah, because I'm willing to bet that the bed. Yeah, so there's the bed. And we know all that stuff. LD already did that part for us. So the spacing is the mount points, and the bed mounts directly to it. No other extrusions or anything crazy like that. Okay. So I can double check with the bed and even my panels and make sure that all of that is correct. We'll get all the way back up the top here. So I think that that is a little data that I did not know. And since I haven't built one of these, I don't know for sure. But let me go ahead and pull out the bed. Look at that. LDO did pretty good on that. I'll give him credit. And if you say they're the same, then my prediction would be is that they should still be, well, look at that. They are 150. Yep, that would be correct. So 130 center to center. Well, 150 center to center and 130 space in between each one, which means 65 to each edge. Okay. Now we know. So no matter what frame you're doing, the offset is always the same. It's 65. And knowing is half the battle. Let's see. Why aren't you sliding on me? So now we know. So I'll go ahead and get reset. Come on, let's get 65. 65-ish. All right. 65 there. Darn. I wasn't far off on that one. I won't even mark that. I'm just going to tighten that down. I'm not even going to complain about that. Now what I'm going to do is, just so I'm not nuts, is I'm going to go out to 130. Just make sure that is good. And tighten that down for now. I'm going to check for square later, but I'm going to have to do both sides first. So Let's go back and remark 65. Getting 65 on the dial. Ooh, 6500. I'm good. There we go. I got that right. Center that up a little bit just to make it pretty. And now that I have that one side, let's check for squares, shall we? It says that's square. That's not good. That's square. Because that means that my other measurement's probably off somewhere. But I'm going to be anal at this point because I can be. I'm going to tighten that down. How far off of center is that right now? Wow, that's a lot. Let's check some other measurements. That explains it. I got a measurement variance here. So it should be that far. I just got a lot of frame squaring. Come on. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And I'll rely on frame squaring to do the rest. There's 130 between the two. All right, check some of the other measurements to make sure I'm not nuts. And then I'm just going to rely on the frame is probably a little bit wonky as of right now. Yep, that would make the frame a little bit wonky. That's okay. I can fix that later. Because a lot of this will be stitched together and I'll be squaring that up later. But for now, that is correct. All right. Look at that. And of course, the next step, double check for square. Bad. Not bad. Not terrible. You know, I can live with this for the most part. So, for example, what is it? Not bad. Good enough for government work. All right. There we go. All right. We're starting. There's a sexier angle. You get to see my little pot belly hanging over itself. All right. Now what's the Z drives? What is this? So now I'm onto the Z drives. I've got all that junk and it's trying to go, oh, you got this and this. Oh, that looks like an angry man.
I don't know. That's an annoying process. Okay.
All right. So now we're doing rails. Now what I meant by annoying process, I'm not a fan of T-nuts and linear rails. Joint mainly because T-nuts don't really slide very easily. I'm gonna get this bed out of the way because I'm not touching a bed for at least, tomorrow probably at this rate. But now I'm doing linear rails. Linear rails, linear rails, linear rails, linear rails. Pull them all out. All righty. So I got the 9s, and then I got the one, I think this is what? The 12 rail, so it's all 9 for the vertical, I believe, and then 112 for the X, I believe is the correct way. So 9s. It's time for 4 9s. Which would have been funny if it was step 36. Come on. Come on, people. A little bit of humor there. All right. So, anybody that's still watching, who's got what? How many Vorons out there? Sound off. See? So I got to keep Michael around. He's actually built the 2.4. There we go. 2, try to envy 1. All right. There's the rails. They want M3/8 sockets, and then M3 T-nuts. All right, fine. M3 T-nuts, socket head screws, M3/8. There we go. That right there to hide that. I'm going to do that for now. It's a little sloppy, but I'm starting to get a lot of extra screws around here, so I want to make sure I'm okay. And they really want me to do every other one, and then they'll do M3 nuts on it. Whew, that's going to be fun. Now, they want a 3mm gap at the bottom. Okay. I'm going to assume that 3mm gap. Well, you know what? The easiest way for me to establish that 3mm gap will just be to put a 3mm screw down there. All right. They want them all based on the inside, so that's where I get to do this fun. I'm just going to grab a small stack of them. Small set of screws. And just make a little pile because I'll work from these for a while. Rail feels good. It's going to go right there. Now, did I just freeze?
I think I just froze. Huh? All right, I guess camera 2 froze for some reason. Don't know why. Yeah, all frozen. Oh well. Back to the grind. So I can work with that. So they really want every other screw, huh? I swear. You know what? In hindsight, that is going to make installing them a lot easier to do it sideways. Gravity is annoying. So let's try not to fight it. I'll just use a small little wrench to work them all in. For aesthetics, I'm going to point them all the same way. Yeah, hex key would also be good. I can see that. I got to flip that one around. Wouldn't really matter which direction it is, but aesthetically for myself, I'm going to consider it important that I do it this way. And I got a thought here. I'm going to go crazy. In 1 second. Where are you, mouse? So what I want to do is let's go to the overhead cam. And let me just do a little bit of adjusting. Something a little bit better. That way you guys can at least see. Yeah, that's the one thing I've always never liked about like T-nuts and these post, type of nut things that are going on out there. There's so many different variations of rails that if they aren't matched at the factory, you're never going to get the right one. So if you cut up Masumi's or something like that, you better buy the Masumi's T-nuts. They all claim that they're all, using the same profiles, but I keep finding mismatches and stuff like that. It's just annoying. So that's something to consider, and something that I would go. That's one point for kids. One point for kids. So many T-nuts. See, if nobody was watching, I'll be honest with you, I totally right now just be skipping over a few extra T-nuts and just be like, it doesn't need to be every other hole. How about every other hole? And just to make sure that they're all relatively in the right spot. So that when I drop in my screws, it'll all come together.
So far, so good, you know. I mean, I'm early on, and of course, you know, I'll probably make 72 mistakes between now and then. But until then, so far, so good. All right. Quick bit change out, different size. Throw in a screw. Come on. Aren't you hitting it? There we go. Throw in a screw. Work my way down. So, everyone watching, what else are you doing for Labor Day? This is my Labor Day plan. This is me partying. This is me doing something totally not work related. And we're going out of town. Let's see. That is true. That is true, Patrick. I do find though that drop-in T-nuts, you know, or the twist-in T-nuts, those tend to be more forgiving between different, you know, manufacturers and designers. These kind of drop-in, the ball bearing drop-in styles, those tend to be far less forgiving. Those tend to be very precise per manufacturers, I found. And that would be just about every size. All right. Look at that perfect 3mm spacing. I'm a genius. Now I'm going to step out of shot here because I need to go get my very first tool, my very first 3D printed part for this project. There we go. I think I printed up, yeah, I printed up two, so I can work my way down and keep everything squarish. Actually, I'm gonna leave that in that bag. I have a feeling that's gonna be a while before I get there. Look at that. That is true. If they're not centered, they won't work. I'm gonna set that down there. Set that down there. I got my little 3mm spacing just the way I like. And I'm gonna work my way up. Now, I'm a little different than some people because my method, I always like this tool, but my method is I anchor one side down here so it kind of keeps it straight, but then I work my way down from one end, tightening. In theory, it should be perfectly straight the whole way up, but any flex or variance, this should help at least centered on this rail. There's other people that would cringe and say, no, you need to work from the center out. But then I would need to have 3 of these. I only got 2. And I don't think it's going to be that huge of a variance problem. And I would have noticed if I had to like push the rail around or anything crazy like that to make this actually work. Beautiful. One down, 78 more to go. You know, I didn't think about this. Can anyone guess what I've done wrong so far? That's right. I put this on the wrong side. It's supposed to be there. Dope! That was me not reading the instructions right. My bad. I'm sorry. That was me missing that or misreading that step. That is entirely my fault, my bad, my screw up. I cannot blame the manual. I cannot blame the picture. I cannot blame anything other than myself. I screwed that up. Yeah, you're right. You are right. I'm going to slide this off the table, secretly out of that view. And just like the penguins in Madagascar, you didn't see nothing. And I guess I could have left the rail on while I did that, but I wasn't thinking about spinning until Patrick mentioned it. And I already had the rail off when I read his message. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could have just done that. All right. Now we're back on track. I would agree. I would agree that I need to double check my square again. But I don't think putting the rails on are going to affect it being square. So I'm going to save that step for after I get the rails on in case I have to do any more spinny spin or error correction or any of that junk. But I would check for square pretty much every chance I get, or every time I do any major step, I would probably like, just keep checking square, just keep checking square. But you know, according to the other kids in high school, you know, I am pretty square, so shouldn't be much of a problem. Thank you, thank you. I'm here all week. My humor is fun. All right, work my way up again. Because it was my oopsie daisy. I misread the picture. The rails fit in the inside going front to back, not left to right. That is where I erred. All right. One rail down. And I'll flip it over this way. And do the next one. That is exactly true. If it's worth doing twice. Drop in a bunch of T-nuts. Do the next rail, and the next rail, and the next rail. So everyone's watching, you know, you're big Voron fanboys and all that stuff. I get it. I get it. But let me ask you this. If we took Voron off the table, I'm not doing that as a company thing, I'm just, you know, for fun. Let's say we took Voron off the table. Let's say we took Prusa off the table. Let's say we took Creality off the table. And just because of current trends, let's say we took Bamboo off the table. What's your next printer? Okay, there we go, BZ Bob. Okay, that's a good start. I'll allow for it. Let me get that a little bit closer because I know I'm going to be shifting so much. It'll be a pain in the ass anyways. Which, by the way, the only reason why I removed all those other culprits is because, yeah, we know everyone's got that, and they're all fanboys of each and every individual one for different reasons. I just wanted to see what would happen if if you take away every popularity, what would you be left with? You know. I thought that would be a good exercise. Okay, okay. Look at this. We're getting the resin now. All right, I'm down with that. You know, that has been a pretty popular resin out there. But can I tell you my problem with the resin printers that are out there? I have two different problems, but I'm gonna focus on just the printer. It's their slicing software. I have never been a fan of this idea. I mean, I kind of worry about all these kind of closed source slicing softwares for a lot of these kind of cheaper resin printers I've seen out there. Now, besides the obvious security concerns and all that stuff, I just don't see them getting it updated a lot. So if you find a bug, you're stuck with that forever. It's never going to get fixed. That's been my one problem with the resin printers, or the cheaper resin printers that are out there. I feel like the software development is not active. I am a fan of DIY too. I have to admit it. I love DIY. I always have been. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm a open source fanatic over this stuff out there in the world, and knows my feelings towards it. So I really do like DIY. And yeah, Patrick, that's what I meant by it. A lot of them are using proprietary slicers for these kind of cheaper ones. And that is where my problem comes from, is that since they are using proprietary slicers, besides the obvious, you know, open sources versus closed source, which some people really don't care about, which is fine. I want to put up the argument that means that the companies don't really have a serious motivation to maintain that software. You know, they're kind of older softwares, which if there's any sort of, you know, networking or payload problems or anything like that, that can create security concerns. But the other problem, the real problem is that they're not updating the software as regularly. So when a bug is found, they're not actually going to be fixing it. It's just, you're stuck with that bug forever. You're never going to see the improvements like you're seeing on a lot of the other slicers and stuff like that. Now, yes, resin is messy. Resin is messy. And in all honesty, very, very, very toxic. So if you aren't careful with your resin, it could be for more than you bargained for. My favorite horror story that's going around out there right now is the idea that someone spills a little bit of resin on their leg, and they, of course, wash it off, don't think much of it, and go about their day. And then they put shorts on, and then they go outside, and then they're in the sun. And now that they're in the sun, that resin gets really freaking hot and burns them. Pretty bad, because it's not really off. It's not like it's easily, I mean, it's not like that person probably showered and soaked up the area and treated it with alcohol and all the other stuff to really get it clean. So, yeah, resins are kind of an issue there. And okay, that's fine. But here's the next problem. The resin recipes. I worry about the VOCs off of those way more than anything I see off of ABS and all the other filaments that are out there. Because, I mean, the VOCs are kind of a component of it. And I always worry about the validity of their safety data sheets. And the lack of lab testing and all that stuff always kind of concerns me about those things as well. Because every single test that I've ever had run or seen done on the VOC counts off of resins, if their safety data sheet's out of whack, the particle count's really high. I mean, an obnoxious amount. So you end up with excessive ventilation, or hopefully the ventilation's enough. It could create a long-term problem. In fact, I'm going to get into a little sales pitch mode. That's the one thing I was excited about having the company bought out by Prusa, is that they actually take their resins and they are thoroughly tested. They have their counts. They have all the proper reports on it. And they actually uphold that. So I give them credit. I give Prusa credit for what they're doing with their resins. And another company out there that's doing a really good job with their resins is Zortrax and their tracking. So, hey Raymond, how you doing? So I've been selective on my resins. I gotta admit it, I get like 20 emails a day from different random resin companies that go, oh, you should carry our resins, it's great. And you should carry our resins, it's great, it's great, it's great. And I have to ignore like 90% of them because I go, yeah, prove it. So, yeah, I'm a little worried about resins on a very large scale without any sort of control or regulation over it. And it requires companies to be completely voluntarily involved with it. Kind of like why I like Prusa for them. That was actually a factor when I was in discussions to sell to them. I was like, okay, let's talk about resins and stuff like that. They had to sell me on their stuff that I'd be okay putting my name with it. And surprise, 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 I said, fine, let's do it. Thought I had it right. Come on, work your way up. Yeah, I would not want to run a resin printer in this basement. Not because, well, yes, of course, it does not have the proper ventilation down here. But here's what gets worse. In this basement is the air handler for the rest of my house, which means anything that I do down here goes up there. So if I ran a resin printer down here, the whole house would smell very much resiny. And I just invented that word, patent pending. So resiny is my term. I have patented it. I'll be registering the domain later, so don't know none of you take it. It's mine. Mine, mine, mine. Come on. Get out of there. I put one too many T-nuts in here. I'm trying to get the extra one out. And it's being a pain in the butt. Aren't you? Come on. You can do it. Get to one side, push down, and you're supposed to pop right up. Ah, screw it. You know what? I'm just going to leave an extra one on this one then. Chalk it up to me not counting, and having an extra screw didn't hurt nobody. All right, let's see. Get my gap down here just right. Beautiful. And now let's center it up. Center it up. And tighten down. Well, now this is going kind of fast. I'm okay with this. I guess now I got the rhythm. You know, every time you kind of start a project, you have to get that rhythm for the project where you start to know what the hell or how things are supposed to work on it, and you can kind of walk along with it and almost predict ahead of how it's going to be, because you start to understand what the original designer and builder was thinking and how they were going to process stuff. So it all kind of makes sense then. So you spend less time going, wait, what are they saying? You know, and then more time like, oh, I know where they're going with this. It's all good. We got this. All right. One more for rail 4. So far, so good. Oops. I got my little sacrificial screwdriver here to finagle them in. All right, let's see what we got there. Oh, look, got that. Yeah, so a little bit of stopping goes in the top, but I'm just using little plungers right now that came with the rails, so that nothing will slide out and fall away on me. And I have to admit it, I can't tell you how many support tickets I see a week where somebody has forgotten that and then their block goes flying and all their parents go flying. That's a pretty common one I see come through. And you kind of sit there and go, really? That's where we're at? But no, I'm kidding. It sucks when it happens, so that's why it's always good to be extra careful and think stuff out. Or you're totally going to screw yourself over. All right, one more. Oh, crud. Riley found out I'm streaming tonight. Darn it. I mean, hey, welcome, Chris. How you doing? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. No, I figured I wanted to spend Labor Day weekend doing something non-work related. So I'm down here building a Voron. It also kind of gives me a chance to, this is my first test to try out with my basement. You know, my basement, my house. I have a ceiling again in the basement and a floor again on the first floor. So I feel like I finally moved into this place, as I like to say. I still have a bunch of small projects and a bunch of unpacking to do, but I like to say, I think I've moved in. I think I've moved in for the most part. Yeah, so about once or twice a year, I will shave off the beard. Because one, I just can't be that guy that has that super long, scraggly beard. And I like to do it because, you know, if you have a beard long enough, you kind of feel like something's growing underneath it. So you just want to shave it off. Just so you can really get in there and wash and be like, okay, nope, nothing's going on underneath that beard. It's all clean. Feels a little more sanitary. The problem is that every time I shave my beard, more gray comes back the next time. So I am this close from thinking about Just for Men. Real close. Oh yeah, No Shave November. Coming soon to a beard near you. But yeah. So now this is my little refresher for the summer. And I even got a haircut today so I could complement it, as it were. But I gotta tell you, during the whole pandemic thing, at its height and stuff, I spent the first year cutting my own hair, which I think is why none of you ever saw me on a stream, is because I was sporting this really god awful buzz cut. Because I'd go in my backyard and I would just pull out the cordless shaver and just go to town. And then inevitably, the next day I'd go outside and there's some bird in the tree that has decided to make a nest out of my beard trimmings.
Hey, to each, you know what, Red Dragon, to each their own. You know, however you want to spend your November, you go right ahead. All right, now that I have that, see, oh, Chris didn't come in. He's only seen the one angle. So I got that angle. This camera is frozen for some reason. But then I got a cute little sexy overhead. And then I got the laptop, you know, stare you down. And then I got the screen share. I'm all fancy. I'm almost a YouTuber. See, now last night, I went and I was like, you know what? Let's see what's going on with Twitch. And I tried to, I checked everything with Twitch. And I even streamed for a minute on Twitch for like 10 minutes on Twitch last night. And I kind of sat there and I like hanging out on Twitch. It's not bad. There's some fun people. But I'll be honest with you, that's kind of not what I wanted. I feel like if I was on Twitch, everybody would think I was kind of out for money. And the reason why I stream while I'm building stuff like this is really because it's better than listening to music. I can talk. I talk about this much, but I talk about this much when I'm by myself. So when there's somebody else watching the stream, it's at least justified. Oh, look, I get to do my first panel. The expertly made panels by this company, I forgot their name. They make these panel sets. It's pretty cool. You know, everybody likes these. Everyone says that they're better than any other panel option out there. And I would agree with them. Now, let me tell you a bad business decision that I stand behind. So, I make these panels. I sell these panels. Oh, Kit. Oh, that hurts. But, you know, I make these panels and I sell these panels. It's all good. You know, that type of thing. They're all fine. But I'm the guy that kind of came up with ACM, as I like to say. That was my big contribution. I felt like I was the guy that was like, hey, I'm going to do ACM panels. Now, I have the equipment. I have the ability to also cut these panels out of ADF. But there were a few other guys in the community that were already doing that. So I kind of took the road of, we don't need more people doing the same thing. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to be the guy that does the ACM. That's who I'm going to be. Okay, I see what they're going for. You know, funny enough, this is the first time I've ever put my own panels on a 2.4. So I get to notice what they are. So these are M5 T-nuts. It's kind of funny, the holes that they put in there I'm going to tilt that up ever so slightly just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. The holes that they kind of wanted are kind of biggish anyways. So I could drop T-nuts in there, but they want M5 T-nuts now, okay, I see what's going on there. So that's just where the din rails go, and that's why they left a little extra room there. Now I understand what's going on. So sometimes I just try to understand why they do certain things a certain way. And then, so I will sometimes browse a few steps ahead to be like, why do you think they're doing that? And I was trying to figure out why they had these square holes as part of the design for these panels on the bottom. If they were just going to try and use screws to hold that down, and it's not. The square holes are to kind of allow for a little bit of sloppiness in builds and stuff like that, because you're really using the din rails to hold this all together. So I'm like, okay, I'm down with that. I'm like, I get it. Come on. Wiggle into place, get underneath that lip so it slides around. There we go. There you go, buddy. Now, how far off am I on all of these? So that's got to come way back, and that's got to come way forward. Puts it right in the groove. Get it all to line up here. There we go. That's beautiful. You know, a 2.4 build for Chris would be kind of fun. And I say this because, in all honesty, the 2.4 is such a funky build that it's a very non-traditional printer, I want to say. It's a very non-traditional build. So when the product comes out, so these din rails, they mount front to back. Let's verify real quick. But I think that, in all honesty, no, they mount left or right. Yeah, okay, those photos match up. But I think Chris would have a ball with this, and I would actually have a ball seeing Chris build it because of what I would consider all of the contradictions or the differences, really, that are in the 2.4. That entire idea of a core XY lifting and lowering, and the bed staying stationary, presents a lot of unique challenges for people that, just build regular normal printers. Now, would I say that Chris should build a Trident? Well, of course, but I don't think it would be as much of a challenge for him. He's built similar three-post leveling printers in the past. So I would go, meh. I kind of would, it would work. I think you would be okay. I enjoyed working with him on the switch wire,
because that threw both of us for some serious loops. It really did. Oh yeah, I saw Jessie walking around. She does her up and down the stairs thing downstairs. It's cute. She's a little old, so she sometimes has a problem with the walking around and stuff. And sometimes I have to go and carry her up and down the stairs now. It depends on how her feet are. But she's getting up there. She's definitely, you know, acting her age now. She's still a puppy, though. She still wants to be a puppy. All right. Din rail's holding it on. And look at that sexy black ACM. I mean, that's just beautiful. That's just sexy. That's the pretty stuff. All right. It's going to make me do some heat sets, I think, now, because I am on page 31. AKA the root of all issues. All right, the pulleys, the shafts, bunch of spacings. Look at all of that. These boron guys just want to hurt me. That's all it is. I think this is a conspiracy to hurt David. That's what it is. I believe I need the motion kit next. And I think ultimately I can set this out of the way for a while if I'm correct. I'll set this down here. So, well, I'll tell you one fun thing about ACM. If you're curious, with ACM, it engraves beautifully. So if you have one of those El Cheapo laser engravers, you can engrave ACM. It works really, really well. So go to town. All right, I think I got all the good stuff here. I got 4 shafts, I got 4 pulleys, and this one's the GT20Ts. That's 16 Ts. I knew that's 50-50 shot. 60 Ts, 5 millimeter. Yep, that all looks right. And I got some set screws here. All right, have fun, Patrick. Thanks for stopping by. I'll definitely be doing this for a couple more days. I'm gonna not go crazy and overkill myself. We're kind of like, I'm not gonna do it like me and Chris did with the switch wires. I'm not gonna sit there and build for 12 hours straight. I'm just gonna sit there and just be like, okay, that's enough for one day, and kind of do that type of thing. Because I believe most of my mistakes were just due to either fatigue and or I was trying to play to the camera way more than I normally would. So play the people watching me and stuff like that. And that made me kind of screw up. So this does not have an agenda, or these little streams do not have an agenda. They're just for me to have somebody to talk to while I'm building. So you guys are just here instead of the radio. Which I can't really play that because I don't have a lot of unlicensed music in my collection. They're all, 80s and 90s grunge bands and rock and roll and hair bands and some Broadway musicals, and a little combination all in between. And some 70s classic rock. And maybe some early 2000s. Yeah, I have a face for radio and a voice for television. Wait, that doesn't work. Yeah, I have a face for radio and a voice for sign language interpreters. There we go. That's the ticket. All right. Let's see. A little drinky drink. Non-alcoholic, of course, because YouTube would sit there and scream bloody murder if I dare drink a beer. I'd have like 72 cops on my door, and I'd be like, what? And they go, don't you know? And I'd be like, yeah. I just put a set screw in here, and I didn't actually get to that step, so I think I'm going to just stop at one because I don't want to assume and guess wrong. Yes, I'm ready for Earth. I'm going to have a good time at Earth. I'm going to be ready. The nice thing is that, or the sad thing is that this Earth, I have a feeling that I'm going to be way busier than I normally am at shows. Because as you can imagine, I had this pesky little company buy me at the beginning of the year, and they have not physically come here and seen the goods that they bought. They don't know what they took possession of, in other words. They don't know. They only know photographs and video streams and legal paperwork, what they bought. So I feel like I'm going to have a bunch of people come into the office from the show that I'm going to have to entertain. And then I'm going to have all the nighttime people coming around, that I have to entertain and all that stuff. And then I do the show and all that, and then run back to the shop and grab the random thing that some people forgot. But the other problem is that since I represent, or I'm a reseller for so many different companies, if you didn't know this, customs right now is an absolute joke. They are broken across every single matrix you could possibly imagine. So most of the foreign companies that are coming to E3D have contacted me and said, hey, David, we're worried about customs and not being able to get our products into the country in time for the show and our booth stuff and everything. And I said, okay, well, why don't you just ship that stuff right on down to my house or our warehouse well before the show, and I'll just store it here until the show comes up, and I can drive right on over for you. So we're going to have to also deal with all that wonderful delivery for everyone for a bunch of different vendors. So by this point, you could almost say, I bet you easily a third of earth of what you see vendors have at earth that's going to have gone through my warehouse. Almost guarantee it. Well, I really want Earth to be my show. You know what I mean? I want it to be the show where everyone goes, that's printed solid. They come out there and they make that show happen. You know, I mean, Earth has its own people and its own culture and all that stuff, but I really want people to feel like printed solid is doing everything it can to make Earth as great as it can be, and you know, kind of being that sponsor as best I can. I mean, I even got little YouTubers that I sit there and say, hey man, you want, you can send your camera gear ahead of time, and I'll just store it at my warehouse. It'll be here right here for you. You don't have to fly with it or anything. You go to town. You know, ship it a couple days ahead of you arriving, and then I'll just be like, yep, it all got here. Get on the plane and come on out. Take care of all those people too. Yeah, Steve should send me his trident. I'll take care of them. I'll keep them going. Well, will you look at that assembly? That's all fancy. All right, so let's see what I got here. I got those bushings. I need M5 shims and 625 bearings. Six two fives. There's that. Let me find those M5 shims. All right, I found the one slight typo here. They call them precision spacers, which is a proper name for an M5 shim. But LDO, man, you did so well on all the other names. All right. Now, it is claiming that I am using those same locks, so I can just go ahead and pre-thread everything. The same set screws and pre-thread all those in. Just to get it out of the way and going, because it's very boring, long work for this. And then I should be able to just throw it all on the shaft and be done. This part. Realistically, I am probably going to go for at least another 45 minutes on this tonight. And then I start a little bit earlier tomorrow. I kind of had a lot of stuff to do today. But I wanted to make some visually significant progress. So I get into it.
So yeah, I'm gonna go through the serial process. I feel obligated. I'll do that whole thing. Although I'm not fond of the Reddit because I kind of got off that site a while back. Like, just got bored. There's nothing wrong with it. I just got bored of it. There's people that still do it. But, that's kind of the serialized process now. All right, Chris, thank you for all your streams. You have fun out there. I'll see you at Earth, or I'll see you at the next stream. All right. There we go. All right, almost done with at least these set screws. Then I'll have some fun assembly work. It sucks though, is I've done all of this and I still have yet to touch the 3D printed parts. Come on, man. I want to get some fun. We're going to finally find out if David can actually do 3D print stuff. One of those things. I'm just curious about something. Let me see something here real quick. Got a few of you watching. It's all good. And I'll chit chat, say hey. Have a good old time. I don't have to stress because I don't have like 500 people watching me and I don't feel like I have to perform. Just a few people hanging out, keeping an eye on me, make sure I don't electrocute myself or stab myself or cut off a limb or anything like that. Somebody to call the ambulance. All right. Now, shaft. Shim. Chimney. Bearing. Shim. Pulley. And from that assembly, it looks like I probably got that right. Because the spacing looks good on both sides. I'll tighten this down. And I'm going to slide on some extra bearings. Yeah. All right, I got the spacing right. Yeah, there's no dancing. I don't jiggle it. I'm not, I won't be breaking out the hot tub anytime soon and doing a hot tub stream or whatever. Yeah, you won't get that from me. I'm sorry. Although I kind of want to get a hot tub, just for myself, I'm not going to stream with, just something to sit back and relax after a nice long hard day of making plastic string. Just a good old relaxing soak. But the only problem I have with hot tubs is that, well, they're a lot of maintenance. And you can always tell if a product's not really a good fit for you. Because if you look at Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and the item that you're thinking about getting yourself, new or whatever, is the #1 item listed as free on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, then yeah, you might want to double check to make sure you really, really want one. And you look over Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and what you'll see is that there's like
500 free hot tubs because the owners didn't want to deal with it. And they're like, but you got to come get it. No, don't worry. I won't break out in song, thank goodness. People have caught me breaking out into song, usually by surprise. And it won't be like they sit there and go, and they just kind of, sneak back around and go the other way or anything like that. They just kind of get locked into it, and they have to sit there and they feel like they're doing an honest service for humanity by coming up to me and just saying, David, stop. And I would agree with them. Come on. I feel like there's a little burr. It's catching that bearing. There it goes, right over the burr. Now it's fine. Yeah, I mean, you think about that because you get those hot tubs, if they freeze up, aren't they? If they freeze up once, they're shot permanently, if I'm correct. You just don't do it, right? It's over. Like, I feel like it's just not worth it. Just not worth it. That and hot tubs are apparently heavily regulated here in Delaware. So you got to get a ton. All right. Hopefully I got rid of the bots. Yay, I feel like I'm finally successful. It's YouTube streaming. I had a bot. Hey, welcome, Brian. Come on. Get on there. I know. There we go. Now it's over. You aren't a success until you've been bought. There we go. All good. Yep, that's what I did. I reported them and then hit it. They are gone. Bye-bye. All right. That step is done. Oh, look at those belt loops. How cute they are. Now, look, my first 3D printed part. You know what I'm going to do? Before I jump into that, I am going to take a 4-minute potty break. So I'm going to say, I will be right back. Give me about 4 minutes to go take care of business. And I'll see you back here. Where is it? I think I even made a be right back thing. Look at that. I'm fancy. All right, I'm back. I keep it fast. So here's my catch. Maybe you guys can help out with this. So if we go through the manual, they do the heat insets and they show one part here, but I didn't see anywhere where they start talking about it, because I assume they start showing pictures with heat insets in them. So where am I missing
when I need to fire up the heat insets. Oh, do they start to identify that later on? Ah, okay. They just want to warn me ahead of time, and then later on there'll be a rule about heat insets somewhere. Get pretty far, and I still don't see their application. All right, I want to go back. I just want to see if I can find out. Is there a later section where they talk about heat insets? Let me just go back up and check the index on this. So I already know about heat insets. I swore I remember in the manuals, the other ones I've gone through for their instruction set, that they had like a subsection where they talk about heat insets. But that's the first time they talk about it. So, yeah. So, no, I'll be streaming tomorrow. I'm probably going to start a little bit earlier, like 3 or 4 o'clock, and continue on. So I'm guessing, okay, let's assume these are the photos they really want me to work off of. I'm going to assume that. I would have expected differently, but it is probably just me over-interpreting things. So I'm going to assume these photos are the heat insets that I'm supposed to worry about for now. So I got some parts here, and it looks like it's just these 6 here, and then those 2 there. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't nuts. Yeah, I could see that. Where it's not every nut, but I would have figured that they would have at least done like a. I'll probably see it. I'll probably see it later on for the other steps, and I'm just overthinking this. I think I'm coming back to my exact same problem that I always run into when I build these things, where I'm trying to think too far ahead and too logically about everything. I tend to do that. So I'm not going to. I'm just going to be dumb and follow. Dumb and follow. All right. I got my little soldering iron kind of off camera here, so let me pull that off. Load my heat set tool. Put my iron on. I set my depths. Make sure that all that is good. Actually, I think it'll be perfectly fine if I go a little bit extra. Yeah, that'll be good. All right. Turn on my iron. Let her heat it up. I'm going to move my keyboard out of the way so that you guys aren't sitting there seeing me work off camera all the time. And I'm going to do these just because I can line them all up, and I can just go right down the line here. That's one way to do it. I can see that as a decent way to work. Do them all at the same time, type of thing. But my soldering iron's so quick at it. There we go. Dope. Let's see if I can save this. There we go. That'll save it. Went slightly too far. Easy breezy, beautiful. So here's the thing. With heat sets, I always set them below the surface, ever so slightly. Because I never want them sticking up, because I have to assume everything gets sandwiched anyways. And I also think it's just a better look. So I use the 2 extra threaded screws on the heat set tool to help me set my depth from the top, to let me know once I've actually gotten just below surface. Oh yeah, further than that, yeah. Well, if I run into any of those, I would see that in notes. But if I don't see it, I will set them deeper later. But it would be nice to kind of get these Z's done tonight. I'd kind of like to have it that way. It has kind of the feet on the frame. Mainly because, in all honesty, if you look at the V2, I kind of think the Z motor feet assemblies with the pulleys and stuff is where the sexiness is. I think that's the sexiest part. So yes, I do realize that I just said that I think the feet are the sexiest part of the printer, which I guess means that I am the Quentin Tarantino of 3D printers. There, I made that joke. You're welcome. I think they've come away with a lot on a lot of their design. I mean, the maturity of it, it's an impressive build. Now, what I find kind of funny about Voron builds, it's practical as a kit. I don't know if it would ever really be practical as an assembled product to sell.
There's just a lot going on there. It would need a lot of kind of the parts reworked and assembly reworked, I think, to be a practical sold assembled printer. And I think it's just from the complexity. Oh, that's a heck of a jump. Yeah, I'm doing the full thing, and I'm going to do the stealth burner as well. And I'm going to do the newer stealth burner with the little pancake motor. So I think that'll be fun. That way I'm kind of using the I have the most up to date of the approved V2 line. Put that in line with the V0.1 and I got the switch wire I got. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for some Trident kits to come in, and I'll probably build one of those too. And that way I'll kind of have the whole Voron experience. Yeah, I can see that. Voron does, the bamboo seems like it is a simplified Voron from what I'm seeing. But I am not going to pass judgment because it is a conflict of interest for me to pass judgment on the bamboo. But it will be, it's going to be interesting to see how that develops out. Because I'll tell you this, the secret side of 3D printing business is the business side. You can have the most amazing printer out there, but if you don't have your business set up properly to support it, it ultimately will fail. And there's a lot of aftermarket type of considerations for it. Is have you created a parts chain for aftermarket repair? Have you created resources for third parties? Have you created support centers and support systems? Have you created a unified experience? Do you maintain software? Do you maintain hardware? Do you maintain consistency across all product lines? There's a lot that goes into a lot of this stuff, other than just having the best printer. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So my thing with heat insets that I've always done is I then go around and I will shave the top parts of it, because it always pushes a little bit of plastic up. And it will tell me if I have any that are sitting proud as well. And you'll just get this tiny little extra ring of plastic. And that'll let you know if you did a good job or not. And when you sandwich another piece up against it, it'll sit flush and won't have that little extra O-ring of plastic around it. That's just something I've always done with these heat set holes. And I say that because Voron is not my first time doing heat insets. Yeah. I mean, I say that. I look at the bamboo. They've got a lot of unique, very proprietary stuff on it. Maturity, progress, and how they support it will dictate a lot about the direction and success of that, I think. All right, so they say do that, throw that. Let's see. Need to make sure I get these bearings up just a little bit. Make them sit in the grooves properly. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how that bamboo printer survives. My biggest problem I've always had with 3D printer companies, and I've seen this a bunch of times, is their failure to realize that after the sale is done doesn't mean the sale is over. So if they have a successful launch, great. I'll be interested to see what happens to them in 6 months after that successful launch. All right, that looks good. Let me get the belts for this. And there's the belts. Yep. So bamboo, I'll wait till they've shipped everything, and 6 months later, after their first update, that's when I'm going to pass judgment. That's when I won't get all critical and start thinking about them and complain. That looks good to me. But until then, that's either me being hyped fanboy or being a pessimist or being negative or whatever. So that's why I get to sit back and go, nah, not right now. Let them be. I'll judge them some other day. And I'll secretly judge them like the girl at Starbucks at one time did to me. I kid. I don't go to Starbucks. I kind of think Starbucks is where you go when you're on a business trip or a vacation. But I just have a hard time justifying buying or spending that much on coffee. It is not the most exotic dish in the world. It's not hard to screw up. It's not like the machinery and the process are super insane. I mean, hell, a Kurgan is more than enough to handle the process. And yeah, I don't like drinking that charcoal disguised as coffee. But I'll tell you what the worst part of it is. Starbucks has created this culture where everyone needs a mocha kappa frappa lappuccino with half latte and half soy milk, all blended together in some random fictitious way, and basically disguise, a cup of sugar as just a morning coffee. And it's not. Coffee is not supposed to be disguised. Coffee is just coffee, darn it. Ooh, that fits together nice. I'm a purist. I honestly believe that food and drink and all that should be simple. That's why, like, if you catch me, with a drink or something like that, if it's got more than 2 ingredients in the alcoholic drink, it's just extra. It's just, you're just covering something up. And by 2 ingredients, I usually mean, whiskey and ice. I will drink coffee, and I even have a lazy solution. I know I'm too old for this, but I'll even get like an energy drink, like a Monster energy drink or something like that, when I'm just too lazy and don't want to deal with coffee. But, sugar-free one, of course, but I just don't get all the extras on coffee. Now, don't get me wrong. All those other countries that are just like, oh, no, we're totally all about the experience of the espresso and all that stuff. And I go, okay, that's still just a coffee. Or as the joke would say, it's a coffee with extra steps. There we go. That feels good. I like this. I like where this is going. These are kind of sexy. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like this assembly. It just feels good. You can tell that a lot of work and thought went into this. There's a lot of access built into it. I don't feel like they wasted a ton. I don't feel like it's overbuilt. Where somebody they just add more mass just to be safe. I feel like it is very well masked. If that makes sense, it feels very well masked. It feels like it's not overbuilt and it's not underbuilt. And so far, the access to all the components feels right. Meaning that I feel like they've included everything that's necessary for access. If I pulled out a power tool, I know things would go easier, and I know I'm a nice, gentle person when it comes to power tools. I could probably do it by hand, but I feel like I would have to definitely use the ratchet system, and I would want to be a little more careful. But I'll be honest with you, I think with, plastic parts like this, I feel like you kind of want to feel it. Unless you do this all day, every day, I don't think power tools would be good in this case. I think it would just run too much chance of cracking something or overdriving something or doing something stupidly wrong. And you'll notice that I haven't been using a hammer. I have a hammer. I just think a hammer is a bit much. So I don't mind like whacking it with a smaller tool or something. That's just me. And I have a power drill here. Should the need arise. Should the need arise, I can go all Tim Allen on it and more power. And how's that for a reference? Early 1990s reference. And what's funny is, I don't know if you knew this enough, but did you know Tim Allen has a current show out? I think it's History Channel. It's called Some Assembly Required. That man is still making television shows. I feel that it's a little bit pandering to the maker community, but at least it's there. I've watched a bunch of the episodes, and the only thing that I hate about the show is that Google is one of the sponsors. So inevitably, throughout the show, they make all the contestants, ask their Google Home a question in the middle of their build. Do a math number or something like that. And unfortunately, I'm also a Google Home. So my Google Voice device sits there and answers their question as well. And I have to sit there and go, stop. And, kind of takes away from the experience of watching a show. Welcome back, ECG. ECG stopped by my little Twitch test stream last night, but I was like, I'm going to do this on YouTube. Yeah, I used to love History Channel, man. They did some amazing programming, but then they went all aliens and Bigfoot and conspiracy theories, and they used to be really good at telling a story about history that didn't read like, a textbook. They had a show, Modern Marvels. Man, I watched every single one of those shows inside and out. I loved that show. And Discovery Channel, they pretty much cut out how it's made. And all that stuff. Now, I have to give another little disclosure here. I used to work for Discovery. In fact, that was the job I left when I finally decided to go all in on printed solid. It's true. So, yeah, I used to work there. And I have to tell you that huge fan of Discovery. I mean, I used to be a huge fan of Discovery. Huge. Loved them. Just loved it. And then they kind of went off the deep end. And I was like, oh, darn it.
But I will tell you this. The other huge television show that I used to, or television networks I used to work for, I also used to work for HGTV and the DIY network. In all their glory. Before they all went off. Oh, and Food Network too. They were all in the same place. I worked as an engineer. Keep them on the air type of thing. So used to work for all the fun networks. And then before that, long before that, I used to work for G4 and Tech TV. So you can either start a conspiracy that I'm the one that drove them off the deep end, or you can say that I just have this very unlucky tendency to go and join a company before they go off the deep end. And extrapolate the data however you like. But yeah, I miss the old Discoveries and the old DIY networks and the old HGTVs and the old Food Network. You know, I wish we had more Alton Brown's Good Eats. That was the show. That was pure magic. That's where it was. Look at all those assemblies. They're beautiful. Look at all those gears. That is just gorgeous. They all spin. They all got their belts. I can go on to the next step and do the Z drive. So it's got these kind of funky plates, M5 nuts, and M3x8 socket heads. M36, M36, M36. Oh, that's right. They're the socket heads are over here. The same ones. Okay. So those are M3H socket heads, and that's just a straight up, I need M5 nuts, which are captured by it. Where are my M5 nuts? There we go. I got T nuts. But do I have M5 nuts? I should. There they are. They were just big and sitting out there. All right. I'm doing okay so far. Let me get these precision spacers a little bit off the mat, just so my organizational system still applies and still works, and I'm not filling it up too much. Try to stay organized because, you know,
I stop for a night and something like that, you'll spend an hour and a half just kind of getting back up to speed on everything. I don't want to do that. Probably be a while before I need any more of those, so I'll set those back out of the way. Okay. Now I'm going to put these nuts in the back of it. I would agree with you. I think Elder Brown is uptight. I would agree with you on that. I'm not going to argue with that one at all. Ooh, you know what? I forgot a set screw. I forgot one set of set screws on the other piece that I missed in the drawing. And because I'm a paranoid guy, I want to go back. Yep, that was me. That was my fault too. Okay. I don't know what it is, but I just have this thing where I want to criticize technical documentation and assembly manuals. I think it's because I've done so much technical writing in my life that I just, it's kind of like an English teacher that complains when people don't use the right spelling of things. You just get stuck. You can't help yourself. It's not a superiority thing. It's just you feel like you have to do something. You have to just check it. All right. See, the one thing I always liked about Alton Brown is that he would sit there, and he honestly could sit. He would give you the science behind everything. He really would. He wouldn't just sit there and say bake at 450 for 6 hours. He would tell you why you're baking it that long and how you're baking it. And I always appreciate that. That's where you kind of sit there and you're going, oh, you're telling me more than I need to know. I don't know if I like that. That just kind of. All right, that's just me. I just feel like that was a little bit funky. All right. When I say I feel like that was a little bit funky, I feel like the screw didn't quite sit right. Because they are using this plastic to capture that M5 square nut in there. I'm going to look at it from the other side after I'm done with one to see if I'm weird. And yes, I am weird, but this will just verify that I'm just looking at it weird. All right, so it's assembled. All right, and there's a little passageway for it to pass through. So, okay, they can do that. Yeah, I could see the attraction of Anthony Bourdain. I could see that. I could reasonably see that. But he seems like he would be the pompous one a little bit. I know. How dare I? I never felt like Alton Brown would look down at you for bad food, All right, we're getting there. We're we're getting there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be able to get at least to the feet part of this tonight, and then I'll wrap up this stream. So we're not far away from that. I have a feeling that I'll be able to get that far. If it's the way I think it is. Are you the only one left there, ECG? Everyone else gone quiet and gone to bed? I can only be entertaining for so long. This is that long build process. But it's fun. It's a good way to spend the Friday night or Saturday night. Numero 4. Which conspiracy theory, Doctor? I have so many. Oh, yeah. Well, I've managed to work at all those channels when they all went bad. When I moved over to Food Network and the HGTV and the DIY networks, Out and Brown disappeared. That was a good upset there. DIY started doing the whole House Hunters thing. Then I moved over to Discovery when they started with Amish Mafia. Maybe I'm attracted to unstable companies, or maybe companies are attracted to me once they become unstable. I mean, G4, East Coast Girl knows G4, Revision 3. Come on now. You know. She's known me that long. She knows my deal. Exactly, Doc. That's exactly how it goes. We're a successful company. What should we do? Hire David. But I must say, and I have to say this out loud, I was just an engineer. I did not oversee content in a lot of those cases. There were a couple of those that I was involved in content. But for the most part, I was just a lowly engineer sitting in the back room going, yeah, I can take care of that. I can put it on the air. Yeah, that's been so long ago. It was not my first rodeo when it comes to bad business. It was a fear of mine when it was still a fear of mine when I came to printed solid. I did a lot of paperwork to make sure that me and Matt were going to be fair on all of that stuff, and I wasn't going to get screwed over again. Then, when the Prusa deal came down the pipe, it played another factor, because that Prusa sale, in my mind, had two vectors. One, I was selling the whole company. I was going, listen, I don't want to be a part of it. I want a check, and I want it to be someone else's complete direction and responsibility. I don't want to feel like, I have to, as it were. I want it to be a job. I don't want it to be, personal investment anymore, type of thing. So Prusa went, okay. So that's why they took over the whole place, financially, as it were. I still run it. I mean, nothing really changed for the most part, but ultimately that way I can feel like it's not my baby, it's my adopted son. That's how I put it. And the other contingency was that Prusa had to sell me that their values and what they wanted to do were in line with mine. And they did. And that's how that deal went through. It really didn't take much. There was a couple of calls, a couple of meetings, and we knew we could make it all work out. And that is what we did. And oh, wait, look at that. I think that is another tool that I printed out. Let me see if I can find it real quick. There it is. And so I've been very happy with the deal so far. So yeah. So I get to sit there and say, you know what? Revision 3 is behind me. And I am exactly where I am supposed to be. And it's done a lot for, oh, come on. You got the band hammer now. That's right. You are responsible. See. That's right. You get to sit there and be in charge of me. But yeah, I get to put those people behind me. Every once in a while they pop up. And I say, hey. And I do have to admit that, you know, in some regards, they are part of the path that led me to here. And so now, 46 years, and I'm sitting in the basement with the dog sitting next to me who pees in her sleep, assembling plastic parts with other plastic parts made by plastic string that I make on a machine. Don't forget, I think you mean I'm disqualified from any Prusa promotions and discounts. Because I've always been disqualified from printed solids promotions and discounts. But now I've been added to that Prusa list. But I do have to tell you a funny insider story about that. The other people in my workplace didn't know I was working on the deal. And, you know, anybody other than the extreme higher ups at Prusa didn't know we were working on the deal. And Prusa had a competition that one of my workers entered. You know, he loves that stuff, and he did some design work and all that stuff, and he entered. And he entered that competition, and he actually won. And the official decision and all that stuff did not go through until long after he won. But they were a little bit delayed on shipping out his prize. So by that time that he actually won, and when he actually got his prize, the company was sold. And I don't think that she could hide them because hide that channel because she was not an admin at that time. So I went ahead and just hid the channel. So hopefully they're gone away. She was able to block them, but I don't think she was able to hide it just because I don't think she was an admin when they came in or started all those messages. So I went ahead and hid them as well, just so that they don't show up in the annoying chat. Because I wanted to save the chat for later in case anybody ever stumbles across this video, as it were, down the line. You know, I want this to be reference for people. I'm sure somebody will watch this later on and go, oh, okay. Ah, that's what it was. No, actually, I don't get Prusas for free. So the thing is that with the sale, Printed Solid is still a technical company, independent company of Prusa. So technically, Prusa owns the stock, which means that they own controlling shares of the place. But we are still a truly separate company. So Prusa sells me the printers that I sell. So I have to pay Prusa just like any other reseller. So I am truly an independent reseller for them. It's a good way for the tax man. It's a good way for customs. It's a good way for business, the whole 9 yards. And then there's even services that I provide for them that I charge them for, and they pay me. And it seems stupid because you sit there and go, well, the money's all going to the same place. And yes, the money is technically going to the same place, but in the eyes of Uncle Sam and whoever Sam is over there in Czech, or Chechnya, whoever that person is, they need to make sure that the money is transferred and goes through the proper steps in order to make sure that we're paying our taxes correctly. No, we don't keep loaners in that regards, and it's mainly because we haven't had that pop up yet. Most of our customers, they already have theirs built into it, and the repairs go through the traditional Prusa repair cycles. We are working on adding more efficient repair cycles for Prusa and integrating into their systems better to offer better services in the future for both consumers and professionals. But those services are currently not fully online due to all of the excess integrations and litigations and international laws and everything else we have to make sure we get perfect clearance for before we do any of that. But we do have all of the spare parts, and we do have brand new spare printers in stock for people, specifically commercial and educational and government customers at this time. My hopes is that manufacturing shortcomings are perfected in the not too distant future, and that we will soon be able to bring that to consumers. I want to make sure of something because I feel like I missed something here, but let's not assume. I'm going to go through it. So I have the orientation. So ZenBender, no, you do not. They are on our, if they're on our site, they're available for sale. We do not hide any products. Our website doesn't really allow us to do that service. So we do not hide any products, which means that you are perfectly able to go on our website, find the product, and buy it. All right, looks like I'm going to get my frame back up here, get my frame on. I think these were extra parts anyways. And I might actually be able to hit my goal I set earlier. It's getting a little bit late, but I think I can go a little bit longer, and I think I'm going to be able to hit my goals, which was to get this thing up on its feet. Yay! So I'm going to flip it upside down. And there she is, upside down. Upside down. I'll tilt that up a little bit. Let me make sure I'm not crazy here, because the orientation is supposed to be that. Yep, that looks correct, according to photographs. So then that would go there. That would go there. Yeah, that's going to make it sexy. And that would go there. That's how it's supposed to be. All right. Now, boom shaka, M5 T-nuts. I need 2 on each side, as it were. Come on. I feel like I might just be using the wrong size for this process. There we go. That might be the better way to handle this problem. Get those T-nuts to set in there right. And scurry along. And get all these little nuts in here, and then I can have some fun. More M5s. Not bad, not bad, not bad. And I'm going to spin this around just so I can get it all done and get all the steps done. And do these perpetually in the same order. Or in the same orientation. More M5s. There we go. M5s. M5s. Almost there. I'm excited. I'm going to get to a good point tonight. I think it's, considering how late I started, I'm going to be very happy with where I end, which means vertical with a fairly big chunk of frame done. So visually, it will seem very impressive how far I got. And let's face it, it's all about appearances, right? One more, one more, one more. All right. Now, it says M540s for these. That's a big nuts. There we go. M540s. And that goes into those big holes. Let me find the right screw for this one. Oh, perfect. First try. Yay! The spammers, they love me tonight. I must be uber popular. All right. Now let's move that all the way to the front. Square it up. Tighten her down. Tighten her down. That's sexy. Okay. Let me get the other ones going. Now that I see the pattern, I think I got it worked out the right way to get it all to sit right. All right. Slide that forward. Square her up. Drop it in. And I think I'm going to do one side and then spin it and do the other side. That way I don't spend half my night siding the stuff. Meanwhile, me have no work on Nero stream. I was Nero broken. A likely story. Oh, no bots there. Yeah, see? Suck it, Nero. You're not even popular enough for bots. No, I'm pretty sure he's running one of the little smart bot systems that kicks everyone automatically. Or does that moderate and pause and time out for a few minutes type of thing? Whatever that is. See? I don't know. I guess the robots prefer me. All right. Don't mind this angle. This is me figuring it out angle. There we go. That should work. And now, oh, that's right. I'm not even supposed to put that screw in yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm only supposed to put that one back screw in. You're not wrong there. You use that much, and it's kind of like, yeah. Okay, I think I get this. I think I get this. Now, let's see. These are Voron guys' idler game is kind of are the kids still saying on fleek? Is that the right word? Kids still say that? So their tensioners that they use for belts and everything are kind of badass. I will give them credit. I always felt the tensioners that on every printer design I've looked at theirs, I always felt like it was kind of badass, that they kind of just nail it. And these are no exceptions. Make sure I'm in the right category. All right. I am getting there. Sexy. All right. Not far away. A couple more screws and then I'll be done for the night here because I'm getting these motors on and they're looking good. They're looking like they're supposed to. I feel like I'm doing it right. Sorry, I'm going back through the report. Yeah, yeet and poggers. I'm getting so old that I just can't keep up with you kids. I've reached the age where I'm almost old enough where I have to, when I see teenagers on the street, I kind of want to cross the street so I don't have, cause any trouble. I'm almost at that age, almost there. Yep. Bicentennial babies. Get off my lawn. But I don't think you officially reached old until the very first time you have to go knock on your neighbor's door and tell them to get a hold of their kids. I think that's when it's finally over. Well then, Brad, yep, ECG, you are officially older than me then. You've crossed that threshold. Of course I am. I'm not like Nero. I actually, put a lot of work into this stuff. Oh, cross stream burn. Nah, this has only been like a 4-hour stream. It's really not that long. I've seen Nero go way longer. Okay, Nero already got it. All right. Yeah, I know. I got bots all over the place. We've been hit all night long. It's been great. But no, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, I got the frame together. And I am mounting all the Z motors right now. My hopes is that I'll probably stop right after I get all of this, the motors and the feet on. So not too far from now, I'll probably stop for the night and then pick up tomorrow. You know, and have some more fun. And then I'll probably do a little bit on Monday as well, because this is my Labor Day weekend project. I just finally decided to do something non-work related. Take a little time for myself. Yeah, no, John. Why do you need them 15 millimeters shorter? M516s. That's a unique one. Or one I haven't opened up yet. Where are those feet? I just saw them. I just had those feet around here somewhere. Oh. I'm going to get these on, and then I'm going to be done for the night. I think it'll be pretty good. M516s. I'll be able to flip this over, and I'll be able to sit there and be like, look at me. I'm so proud. I got to a good point. And that way I could say, something's afoot because I got all these on their feet. Thank you. I'm here all week. Tried the veal. These are nice feet. I'm not going to lie. These are nice feet. I will tell you the irony of this is that I've been printing the parts for like the last week and a half at the shop, get all the 3D printed parts for me. But I couldn't get started because I wrote a list out and I alphabetized them. And then I realized the first 3D printed parts were the Z parts. So, yeah. I couldn't even start until I was 100% finished with the printing. Whoops. Look at that. I got them all done. I got to page 48. It's impressive. Everything's tension and there's no conflicts. Sexy, sexy, sexy. So, I'm going to call that a night. It's midnight, so it's a good time to do it. And then tomorrow after I wake up, I'll come down here and actually, I got a few other things to do in the morning, but after I get all that done, I will come down here and start up again. And I'll be in good shape. So, you have a good night, everyone. And I will, tomorrow, start up again and keep on going. And I expect to get a lot further because tonight was the initial just getting started type of thing. So I should be in good shape. Should be fun. All right, everyone. Have a good one.